Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes, and I am delighted that you can be with us today. This week, our guest is Lisa Campion. Lisa is a master psychic, energy healer, and author, who also, by the way, has her own weekly podcast, so she's going to be doing this better than I ever could. She has dedicated her life to helping people access their intuition and their inner power. And with more than 30 years of experience, she has guided thousands of her personal clients in their spiritual journeys, combining practical tools with deep metaphysical wisdom. As the author of the best-selling books, The Art of Psychic Reiki and Energy Healing for Empaths, Lisa is passionate about empowering others to discover their own intuitive gifts. Her mission is to support empaths, sensitives, and those awakening to their own spiritual path and navigating life with clarity, confidence, and compassion. And boy, do I wish I could be a fly on her wall and just watch her do that. But she's going to be describing it to us. Lisa's work has been featured on prominent podcasts, conferences, and media outlets where she inspires audiences to embrace their unique gifts too and find healing through energy work. Her programs, workshops, and coaching sessions provide actionable steps to unlock one's full potential and live a life of purpose. Lisa is deeply committed to helping people live soul-aligned lives, and she believes that developing these psychic abilities that we all apparently have can lead to greater personal empowerment and healing. Wow. Just wow. I can't wait to hear more about this. My dear Lisa, this all does sound amazing to me. Welcome. Welcome to Seek Reality. It's a delight to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Roberta. I'm so happy to be on your podcast and to be having this conversation with you. So thanks for having me here.
Wow. Okay. I want to hear more about what it is you do. Now, I have actually talked with a lot of people who do something like what you do. And I've read their books. I actually had never even found your book. Today, I was in the middle of about 4 different things in a hurry, and that was true about yesterday as well. I also practice law, and sometimes I'll go for a blissful couple of weeks and not hear from any of my clients because I'm down to 6 companies now. I've always worked with businesses and their owners. And so sometimes I have a lot of time to read people's books, but that was not true this week. I had a client actually who was in court with, I don't go to court, so she was there with one of the attorneys I work with, and they actually had a reasonably favorable outcome. But meanwhile, I was involved with that, and I was involved with someone who was trying to sell his business, and all of that got in the way, so I wasn't able to read your book. So I'm going to need to have your help in understanding, how do you open people to what it is you do, and how do you help people to find this deeper part of themselves so they can even do this energy work? How do you do this?
Well, I have a bit of a funny story. Like, I started working as a psychic when I was 19. That was back in the 80s, and I really think that I was one of those, like, I see dead people kids. I was born in the 60s, and I just was born with this psychic gift. And back then it was really weird. I mean, it's still a little weird. But back then it was weird. Really weird,
It's weird.
Yeah. And so I spent a lot of my childhood just trying to figure out, like, what's going on and what am I experiencing? I would see colors around people. I would know things. I called them the gray people, but of course they were ghosts. I saw angels. I saw shadow spirits. I grew up in a very haunted house. My house was
You were not
super
afraid? This didn't make you afraid?
Not very often. Spirits have never scared me. Living people scare me on a regular basis. But the spirit world, I never was that afraid of it. I just was more like trying to figure out, what was happening. Fortunately, my parents were hippies. They didn't like drag me to the church and throw holy water on me. That happens with some people, some psychics, but they were, meditators. So I learned how to meditate.
People like your parents. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. I grew up in New England and I had very liberal hippie parents. So I was lucky, that way. And then it was the 80s and it was the new age, the dawn of the new age. And that made things much easier for me. I was in college. I went to university and in Massachusetts, and I went to UMass. And
you went to UMass? Can I identify? Okay. I grew up in Massachusetts too, and I lived there really much of my life, so I can identify.
Yep. I went to UMass Amherst, like everybody else.
Yep.
And that's when I started working.
I went to Smith. So
did you? Okay. Yeah. So we're neighbors. Yeah, we're neighbors. I took classes at Smith. What a great place. I lived in Northampton and took classes at Smith too. So so that's really it. And that's when I started seeing clients. And after I graduated, I quickly figured out I didn't really have enough skills to help people. So I went back to school and became a therapist. And for a long time, I combined those things together. And then 27 years ago, it was 1999, I learned Reiki, which is an energy healing technique from Japan. It was pretty weird back in 1999. It's way less fringe now. But back in it was another totally oddball thing to do. But it was really helpful. And then I added that to my healing practice. So I would work with people. I had a massage table in my room and my clients would lay down and I would do, this combination of psychic work and counseling and energy work. And then, really recently I've been, shifting the pandemic came and sort of shut down my private practice and I shifted more into teaching and writing books. So these days are really like mentoring people that are helping people that are going through a psychic opening. And there are a lot of people that are experiencing like a spiritual journey. They say, I'm on my spiritual journey, or they have something shift in their life that maybe they take yoga teacher training. I always say yoga, meditation, and Reiki are the three gateways that open people to expanding their psychic ability.
Yep.
So I work with people that are either undergoing a spontaneous psychic opening or want to open their psychic ability, want to become more intuitive, and actually feel like we can train ourselves. So psychic ability is like a muscle. It's like an ability. My latest book is called Awakening Your Psychic Ability. And it's like a musical ability or athletic ability. Everybody has some. And if you work it, you can increase whatever it is you have. Just like if you have a talent for music, it's not going to go anywhere if you don't take lessons and sit down and practice, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So psychic ability is really just the same.
Yes. And you feel that everybody has some. Yeah. Some have more than others. Yours was very strong.
Yes.
There are others for whom it's much weaker. I mean, I thought I didn't have any. As part of my exploration of what's going on, years ago, I spent a weekend with someone who believed as you did. He was very psychic himself, and he put people through very much sort of through their paces. And what do you know? I had some too, quite remarkably. So I get it. There is this muscle in everyone, and it's just latent in just about all of us. And yes. I just didn't, I said, oh, fascinating. Well, I'll never do that again. I had no interest in going down that path, but I know there is that path. And so I would tell everybody listening, yep, if you want to do it, you can. Sandra Champlain is a very good friend of mine, and she was a mentee originally when she was just sort of starting to do this work. I was quite a bit older, and I encouraged her to try it because and then I don't know if you know who she is. She wrote the book. I'm not sure what exactly she called it. We Don't Die, I think she called it. And sure enough, she tried her muscle and she tried it and she tried it some more. And yeah, she was able to do all kinds of things once she really got into it. Now she is
Mhm.
really a leader in this field of teaching people and of helping people to grow spiritually. Very, very remarkable woman. Um, but I don't think it's for everyone. I think that some people might like to go more your route and develop it internally, but not for the public.
Right. I
It's not
agree.
something to sell, it's something to develop for themselves. And I think that what you're
Yes.
doing, therefore, is wonderful in helping people to develop it just for themselves so that they can
Mhm.
grow spiritually, which is what we all come here to do anyway.
That's
Everyone
right.
comes to earth to grow spiritually. So that's what you're helping them to do. And so bless you, dear. Wonderful. That's
Well,
wonderful what
thank
you're
you.
doing.
I mean, I do think it's very useful, especially our intuition. So I make a little bit of a distinction between intuition and psychic ability.
Uh-huh.
Intuition is like our inner knowing. It comes from
Mhm.
our higher self, and it's really like how your higher self helps you navigate through the world.
Yes.
And psychic ability is slightly different. That's when we get information from outside of ourselves. So maybe that's from angels, maybe that's from dead
Yes.
Uncle Fred, maybe that's,
From
we're
Uncle Fred. I
we're
love it.
seeing, you know, we're connecting with spirits basically,
Yes.
that are also here to help us and assist us. But intuition is super useful because it's really meant to help us navigate through the world. And our higher self is constantly giving us information, course corrections, like you shouldn't really do that, what you're about to do. Like, don't do that. Like, or you should do this thing instead, and
Yes.
I think the stranger the world gets out, the outer world's pretty weird right now. And it's, I think, just going to get weirder. But,
Amen.
we live in tumultuous times, and I think our intuition is very useful at helping us navigate,
Yes.
to live a more soulful life, to navigate these times. And I think also to be of service to other people. Like, there are times when your angel is going to put you in the coffee shop at the right time, in the right place to say the thing that person needs to hear, through you in that
Oh,
moment.
amazingly
Like,
so. Amazingly
yes,
so. Yes.
yes,
So that's what you people who are interested in, they're listening now and they're sort of resonating with what you're saying, what they would get from having a session of some sort. And they, I mean, you have a beautiful website, by the way. I
thank
looked
you.
at it and I thought it was just lovely. The way it's inviting, I think, which is good. But now they may want to consult with you. What would they get from consulting with you?
I work mostly as what I call a soul reading. And, every psychic works in a different way. Some psychics are like mediums. They specialize in talking to dead people. And I say I'm not a medium, but mediumship happens. But really my orientation is to look at who you are and the level of your soul, the
Hmm.
most core and essential part of your nature. And what comes up might be your past lives, where you've been in the past, what your life purpose is, what is blocking or is an obstacle for you for fulfilling your life purpose, what your soul contracts are with your people, what your future is. Your soul has sort of an arc and trajectory of its experience here, like a narrative, and that's what I dial into as a psychic to see if it could kind of create a direct connection or communication between you and your soul, your higher self, in the time that we're together. I feel like people come when they need to make a decision, when they're in a crisis, or they feel really stuck and they don't know how to move forward. That's when the work that I do can be helpful.
So they would just come to you and they would tell you first a little bit about what's going on. I
Yeah.
feel frustrated. I know I should be going in a direction, but I don't know what that direction is.
Yeah.
I I'm trying to understand some things. Maybe you can point me in a direction or something. I'm trying to understand things. That's the kind of thing they would say.
Yeah, often, or they have sort of they're in the middle of a choice point in their life. They have to make some decisions. They don't know what to do. They're thinking about changing jobs, changing relationships, moving, they're wanting to live a more soulful life, and they're not quite sure how to do that.
Yeah. Oh, good
Lots
point.
of people
Yeah.
kind of want to get off the rat race, get out of the rat race, and live a life that has more meaning and more depth for them. Um, and that's what I really like to work. And a lot of the people that I work with are also undergoing a psychic opening where they realize they're highly sensitive. They're an empath, and
How would they know that they were undergoing a psychic opening? What does that feel like
I
for
think it means
people?
you start having psychic experiences you can't explain. So maybe you're dreaming a lot. Maybe you wake up in the middle of the night and you see Uncle Fred standing at the edge of your bed, or
That would be something that would seem a little,
it's happens so
hey, Fred,
often.
haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing?
It's actually the most common psychic experience.
Really?
They call it the deathbed visitation, and it's
Ooh.
so common. They think like 80% of I read a study that said 80% of people have admitted to having that experience in the study that they did.
I think I would
But
freak out if Uncle Fred showed up. Of course, I don't have an Uncle Fred. But
yep, and maybe so something like that happens, or they're really sensing more. They're seeing all the signs and omens, like you always look at the clock and it says 11:11 or whatever.
oh, I
Um,
have that all the time,
hmm
all the time.
Yep. So that's a psychic experience.
Three fours. Yep.
Yep. So I think that's what they're doing, or maybe they're really trying. They want to open their psychic more. They're wishing that they could be more intuitive. And, I
Okay,
really came.
so do you help people become more intuitive? You
Yeah,
help
I
them
teach
open that way?
classes. Yeah,
Really?
I have all kinds of classes from beginner to intermediate to very advanced classes on psychic development.
Huh.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So that they would take a class from you.
Yes.
And that would help them to open up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Just like if you wanted to play the piano, you take a class, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to play a sport, you would take a class. So I think we need that kind of repetition. We need knowledge. So we need a certain knowledge set. We need repetition and practice. We need a mentor and a teacher. And really anybody can, if you have those things. It's hard to do it on your own. You can only get so far on your own. Then you should have a class.
All right. So I have a spirit guide who told me to call him Thomas, so I call him Thomas. But I swear to you, I can go through a whole afternoon, never look at my clock, never need to. But then I'll look at my clock and it'll be 4:44. Sometimes 3:33, but usually it's 4:44 or 2:22. Must be him.
Must be him. Those are called angel numbers. So those repeating numbers are often assigned from the angelics, the angelic beings. And we're kind of going to wonder if Thomas is an angel. I do wonder about that. Because those those repeating
Not.
numbers are,
He's
you feel
not
like
an angel. They're,
you feel like
they're
he's a
not.
human.
He is no angel. I can tell. He's he's laughing at me now. He says he is an angel. He's not. Lord.
Sounds like he's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah, he does. He
Yeah.
he
And you
does.
can look up
Actually.
the meaning of those numbers because they have specific meanings. And I mean, sometimes it's what does it mean to you is the most important question,
But
really.
he knows that I will see it as supportive of
Right.
he's being
Okay.
supportive.
It's beautiful. Yeah, that's
It's
great.
like add a girl. That's what it really means.
Yeah, a little confirmation, a
Yeah.
little you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, that's what it
Keep
means. I'm
keep keep
sure.
it keep going. You keep at it like that.
Mm.
Yeah, that's great.
He approves of what I'm doing. Yeah.
Nice.
But it is kind of surprising that I even if I try to catch some other number, I usually can't. It's always going to be that number.
Signs and omens are so powerful. And I think they're, such a powerful part of our psychic awakening process that a lot of
Yeah.
times we have these like, you might have a conversation or a connection with Thomas, and then there can be a part of you that goes into doubt. Like, did that really happen? And I don't know if I believe
I
that.
never
And
do.
and what does that
Doubt
even
him.
mean? And then the signs and omens can sort of show up as, sort of real life proof in a way for the
Mhm.
people that need that. And a lot of people do need that
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
real, that it's a thing, or that you can go ahead and trust that information you got was really from your guides. And that's a question that I get a lot is, how do I trust? How do I know? How do I tell the difference between a real psychic impression and just the stuff my mind makes up, And those signs and omens that we get, maybe it's you see feathers, maybe you always see a penny outside, maybe you always find heart-shaped rocks, maybe you always see the angel numbers. Those, I always have a thing with birds. So I see, cardinals and hawks and eagles and,
Mhm.
very strange and interesting places. And I know that's a sign for me. So I think we all have these signs and omens that act as confirmation that the psychic information we're getting is right.
Pretty amazing. Pretty wonderful. It really is. So how have you seen people develop who take your classes? What do you see happen in their lives?
I think that there's a lot of beautiful things that happen when we come together into community, because we have live Zoom calls every week. And I think a lot of people feel really alone in this part of their life. It's a topic they can't talk about with
Yes.
anyone, or, they might be feeling sort of isolated or like, oh my gosh, am I crazy? Like, and so having a community of people you can share these experiences with
Yes.
is so healing and validating.
Yes.
And we do practice sessions together. So that's really like getting the muscle in the gym and doing some reps. I think it builds confidence. So I see
Do
people get
some
more
rep.
confident.
Yes.
Yeah. And more, their skill increases, their abilities increase. And then, sometimes everybody has a different reason for training. Sometimes people, they just want to master it for their own purpose. Other times people will fold it into what they're doing. They're Reiki practitioners. They're, they're working as a healer or a counselor. And so they want to kind of fold it into what they're doing, to help other people.
It can be very hard for people who are just opening to the possibility that they might have the ability even to do this kind of awakening. It can be very hard for them in the
Yeah.
beginning
Yes.
because their their doubts are so strong and their doubts keep surfacing and they they want to believe, but then they just can't. They want it to be louder, or they want it to come through in a slightly different way. And I mean, I used to teach, I have a few times taught classes in raising your spiritual vibration because that's really what we're here to do. We're here
Mm,
to raise, get rid of the negativity. And there are a lot of sources of basic negativity in our lives if we allow them to be there. And to get rid of those sources of negativity and only reach for pure love and have love be the only source of vibration in our lives, because then we can rise really high. And a lot of people will have it working, but then they won't quite believe it. I mean, if only it were stronger, if only it were, this or that or something. They won't accept that it's happening. Do you
yeah.
find that happens too to the people you're teaching?
Yeah, I think we have to make a decision, and there can be this moment, especially for psychic development, where it's really scary, like it seems like it's fun and it's a game and it's cool until it gets real. And then till Uncle Fred really is standing at the foot of your bed, And that can really be like earth shaking. It can really like, change your perspective on the world, open you. Well, if that's true, what else could be true? You know, what else is real? What else? It can really shake up your viewpoint.
Wow. Yeah.
In some really powerful ways. And, I think we all have to deal with fear. So fear is sort of the first thing I talk about in all my psychic development classes. What so many people are afraid. Afraid that it's, you know, they're going to go crazy, that they already are crazy, that people are going to judge them. That people, I always say there's only a few letters difference between psychic and psychotic, right?
Oh, gee, that's true.
Yeah. So, you know, they're afraid you know, not every religion is down with this, you know, so, you might have grown up in a religion that
Christianity, it teaches fear. It instills fear. It's really bad.
It can be from, you know, that's the devil, right? That's, you know, that these gifts are sort of evil, you know what I mean? And coming from evil and a source of evil. So I think we always have to clean up a little bit of fear. And then of course, if you've gotten your information from watching horror movies, you know, or paranormal TV shows, you know, like it just doesn't end well for the psychic in the horror movie, right?
Oh, that's true. Oh my.
So yeah, we have to clean up some fear often before we get started with opening, feeling comfortable and safe. Like we're going to be safe if we open up.
What's terrible is that Christianity does instill, and I'm a student of Christianity. I mean, I majored in it in college. I thought I was going to be a minister. And Christianity instills fear of hell, fear of falling short in some way. It instills fear in people. I have had to help many people in my fairly long career of teaching I've had to help people to clean it out of their minds and hearts because Jesus did not teach any of that, any of it. And I have to help people turn to Jesus purely and get rid of the stuff that the church teaches, which is just not true.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
It's beautiful that you're doing that work.
I'm sorry?
It's beautiful that you're doing that work.
Yeah. And fortunately, I've learned enough to be able to tell them, in the words of Jesus, how to get it out of their hearts and out of their minds. You know, using the words of Jesus himself from the Gospels. And my husband is a practicing Catholic still.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had to stop, and I can't even go to church with him anymore. It creeps me out now. Longer story than we can tell. And this is about you and not about me. But it's very much too bad.
Yeah, it
really
is. And I have seen quite a few people turn away from their psychic ability or their spiritual awakening because it didn't fit inside their religious, you know, beliefs or their religious structures. And it can be like incredibly painful and incredibly, you know, difficult conflict. When you're, you know, on one hand, you're opening and you're having these deep experiences. On the other hand, you know, nobody in your family will speak to you, or you're going to get excommunicated, or, you know, whatever it is. It's an unfortunate, conflict for so many. Yeah.
And, they feel such guilt that they're so sinful and they're so evil that Jesus had to die for their sins. Jesus did not die for our sins at all.
No. I find often like I spent 10 years in the 90s doing house clearings for people, like just moving out spirits and helping clean up stuff. And it's the Catholic ghosts that never want to go. Catholic, because if you felt like you were going to burn in hell for all of eternity, you might not go. You might really stick around in this plane. And I used to carry around, like the the last rites, some holy water, and I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
because they wouldn't leave if they didn't get their rite of supreme unction. And I think that instilling that level of fear in hell has had some kind of unintended spiritual
I have spent
consequences.
50 years studying the afterlife. I can guarantee that there is a beautiful afterlife for all of us.
Yes,
And I
I
can also
100%
guarantee
agree.
that there is no hell for anyone.
Nope. I don't, I
There you
agree. That's
go.
my experience too. I've talked to like thousands of people on the other side and they all say the same thing. And, we hear
Yeah.
it all from people who've experienced NDEs, and it's so common, but I do come across the occasional ghost who won't leave because they're really afraid of, you know, of something that's not even true. It's sad.
No, 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 that's right.
Yeah.
No, that's good work if you do that work and help them to go home
Yeah.
and not be afraid to go home.
Yep. I just tell
Very
them to look up, like God has forgiven them, like all their people are already up there. And sometimes that works. Oftentimes it does.
well, bless you, dear. That's wonderful work that you're doing. I think I'm probably supposed to be doing more of that work, but at this point, I can just teach. I can't do any of that personal stuff. I just I'm too happy. I mean, I've got too much joy in me to do that and work anymore. I did it a little bit when I was a lot younger, but not anymore.
Sort of, I feel like it's community service for me. And I
Community
do it,
service.
and I do it
Oh,
like when I travel, because Murphy's Law puts the psychic in the haunted hotel room every single time. And when I travel, I often encounter the lost souls, and you know,
oh,
it's
they're
just
everywhere.
so they are, and so just that when I encounter it is when I do it. When I don't generally look for it, but when
Mm.
it shows up, I take care of it best I can.
Oh, all right, let's talk about something really happy now. So the people that come to you primarily are people who are feeling called to raise their spiritual vibration, to grow spiritually in some way.
Yeah.
They're feeling pulled in that direction.
Yeah, and because I teach Reiki, I've been teaching Reiki for 27 years, and a lot of them come because they want to learn Reiki. They want to do psychic development. They want a reading, and I feel like those are great entry points into a larger exploration of their spirituality, or sort of the beginning point of somebody's spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And that's where I really like to help people. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can hugely help them to glimpse a much bigger, much wider, and much more beautiful world.
Mm.
I mean, I say it, and I'll say at the end of this time we have together, I always tell people, your life is eternal and it's beautiful, and you are loved more than you can possibly imagine. And that's all true. Most people have no idea how much God loves them.
Yeah. I
And
think it takes a lot for us to shift out of sort of seeing God, the universe is kind of a hostile force that's,
yes,
punishing, and to really see the truth, which is, God has your back. The universe loves you. Like,
yes,
everything is in support of you. And even the challenges in your life are in support of you. And
they're
that's a
just
much
here so
more,
you can grow. It's
yeah,
like you ever go to the gym? Well, did that hurt a little bit? Well, that was for your own good. That's all that this earth is about. If a little difficult
yeah,
thing happens to you, it was so you could grow spiritually. It's just so you can push against it a little bit. And that growth may hurt a little bit for a day, but it just is, there's nothing negative in our eternal lives. There's nothing there that can help you grow. Well, we come here because we want to grow a little bit. That's it. That's all that the earth is about.
yeah.
And people say, oh, okay. And we come here and we try to plan really hard lives because we want to grow really, really a lot. And then you wonder why babies cry. Well, they suddenly remembered this is Earth and Earth isn't easy, and that's why babies cry. That's the only reason. Oh my. This is really fun. We have to do this again.
Oh, so it's such a great, I love your viewpoint and um, your optimism and your just all the love that's coming out of you as you're talking. It's so beautiful.
Well, I love you because you're doing this work that really needs to be done. So many people need what you have to give. And it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. I mean, I should do more of what you're doing, except that I'm at an age now where all I want to do is spread sunshine and joy and not any of the hard stuff. And you're doing some of the hard stuff, and I'm so glad about that. Thank you for
Yeah.
doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for all the work that you do. And I feel really called to it. And I think because I didn't get a lot of help, I had to sort of figure it out the hard way. And when I was a kid and it was scary and, a lot of or uncomfortable, um, I feel really, grateful when I get to help somebody else do it in a much easier way than I did. And the young people that are coming onto the planet now are so open. They're so psychic. They're so intuitive. They're
Which
so
is great.
connected, and
Oh, it's so wonderful.
it is. And I just really like to share what I have, sort of my hard won knowledge, my hard won experience with the incoming generation so that they just have a different experience. That's really what I like to do.
And there's so much joy for them. I mean, once they really understand that the good news is there's no bad news at all. That's the really good news. They can now just grow and grow and grow spiritually, and you could have the tools to teach them that. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. And thank you so much for doing that. Thank you
Well,
for
thank you.
helping them to grow and grow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a real strong mission for me my whole life. I just knew that. And I feel like I wrote the books that I like when I was little, I went to the library to see if I could find, I was looking at books on psychic and, energy. And I feel like I wrote the books that I wish I could have found when I was hunting, and I became the teacher I wish I had. And that just feels like such a driving life mission for me. And it's really beautiful and satisfying to be able to do it.
Which of your books would you like me to read?
I would say Awakening Your Psychic Ability would be a really beautiful one for you. It's my newest one. And except I'm working on another one now, but it won't be out until November. But that would be the one that I think would be great for you.
Okay, well, why don't you send me when it's ready? Why don't you send me that one so that send it to me in PDF. Never
Sure.
send me
Yeah,
a real
that
book.
one's ready now. Yeah, I can send it to you right now. Yeah.
Just yes, but only PDF. My
You got
husband
it.
says if I bring one more real book into the house, we've been married for 53 years, but he says that'll be it. He'll have to divorce me because we don't have any more room for any more
I
books.
I get that. You got it. You got the PDF. Yes, no problem.
Thank you. And then once I get it, then we can do another and talk about the book.
Sure.
Because I'd like to help you sell more books. What do you want people to take away from our conversation today?
I think a really simple practice of tuning into your intuition, which is just to think about something you want to know, like write a question down somewhere and then go do something that puts you in the alpha brainwave state. Because that's when we're the most intuitive, the most psychic, maybe that. And it's when our hands are kind of busy. So, and your mind is a little blank. So wash the dishes, fold the laundry, walk the dog, drive, and or in the shower. People get their best psychic hits in the shower. And then, pay attention to what emerges inside of you. Like, don't turn on the music, don't turn on the podcast, just be quiet and do something repetitive with your hands. And your brain will shift into that sort of daydreamy alpha brainwave state. And pay attention to what emerges in you, what you feel. You might get like an aha moment, like, oh, I know the answer to that question now. And that is a really common and beautiful, intuitive experience that anyone can have. So try it out.
Okay, so that's to how to sort of start
Mm-hmm.
training
Yeah.
your mind to know
Yes.
the answer. Okay. All right. That sounds really good. Well, I think what you're doing is just wonderful in helping people to go more deeply. And this is not necessarily about anything more than developing this muscle that everybody has. And I
Mm-hmm.
know everybody has this muscle.
Yeah.
It may not be time yet for someone listening to really want to develop this muscle, but as you think about it, it may become time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's great that that's what you're doing. Okay, I think this is really good. Excellent, excellent. And then so if it's a few months and then we start talking about it again, and another set of people will be able to hear about this. And then meanwhile,
Wonderful.
I'll have read the book, which is
Mm-hmm.
good. Because I talked about someone having to go to court. This is the first time any of my business clients has ever had to go to court, and it was kind of shocking for me actually, but it's all going to turn out well for them too. And no, I have never in 40 years of being an attorney ever. I made it the decision when I was in law school. I am never going to go to court. I would much rather love my clients than have to defend them. But it turns out if you feel that way, you'd be a lousy courtroom attorney anyway. So it was a very good decision I made. All right, I'm just going to go away for a minute and tell everybody who will be our guest next week, and I'll be right back. Oh, that was so much fun. Once again, my beloved friends, we've come to the end of our time together, but we'll be back next week. And meanwhile, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. By the way, I didn't come up with the name Seek Reality. That came from Thomas when I had no idea who Thomas was. He was already poking around in my life. And you know that's what you do, by the way, Thomas. So therefore, that's all set. Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. I'm very glad you could be with us today, my dear friends. Please never forget that you are a powerful, eternal being. You never began, and you never will end, and there is no time anyway. So if you're alive now, you're stuck with it. You'll always be alive. And when you really get all the implications of that eternal fact, wow, it changes everything in your life for the better. Next week, our guest is a special friend of ours, Peter Wright. He'll be here for the wonderful 25th time. Peter is very good at his trade. He's a certified hypnotherapist based in Santa Barbara, California, and he also holds the distinction of being one of only 440 board certified past life regression therapists in the United States. He has more than 25 years of experience working with thousands of clients on a variety of kinds of problems, and he's worked with many who are Seek Reality listeners. I hear often from them about how he has helped them with this or that problem, so whenever he's here, it kind of always feels like old home week to us. Please be sure to join us next week for what will be his, as I say, amazing 25th Seek Reality visit. And our guest this week has been Lisa Campion. I don't think it's going to be long before it'll be her 25th time, too, because I really enjoy talking to her. With over 30 years of experience, Lisa has guided thousands of clients in their spiritual journeys, combining practical tools with deep metaphysical wisdom. And she has written already 2 books. She's working on a third, or I think it's a fourth. I'm not sure. I've lost count. She's written The Art of Psychic Reiki and Energy Healing for Empaths. And Lisa is a passionate, really an amazingly intuitive person about empowering people. And as you can hear, she's so easy to talk to. I can't believe what she does, but she does do it. She's amazing, in fact, at doing it. Her mission is to support empaths, sensitives, and those who are just awakening now to their spiritual path in navigating life with clarity, confidence, and compassion. And as you can hear when you're talking to her and when you're listening to her, she's just a beautiful human being who is eager to help people and people who have died and just don't really know what to do next. What a beautiful path she has chosen in this life. We also should mention here now that our dear friend Craig Hogan is the president and guru of Seek Reality Online. I started it. I didn't know what to do with it, so he took it over. And he is now your one-stop resource for all things afterlife. Just go to seekreality.com, start to learn for yourself that your own reality, whether you like it or not, your own reality truly is eternal. And that's just about all the time we have for now. So meanwhile, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Please enjoy and please make the most of this coming week in our one reality. We're all in it together, always knowing that you are a powerful, eternal being, and you, most of all in this entire universe, you in particular, are infinitely, eternally, perfectly, and forever loved.
You've been listening to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Roberta blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Join us every week as we explore what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about the one reality we all share. Knowing the truth changes everything.